This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Minns.
She ended her homily, her first ever as an ordained priest, in an over-rehearsed reference. That is why, my friends, we ask that age-old question, Lord, to whom shall we turn? She resumed her seat next to the baptismal basin on the throne beneath the crucifix and silently contemplated the momentousness of what she had just delivered. 2,500 years of tradition could not deliver what she had just given 70 or so parishioners in her suburban Perth chapel, a glass ceiling that had been decimated in 17 minutes and 33 seconds, the first ever homily delivered by a woman ordained in the Catholic faith. She observed her parishioners and gave them an extra minute to digest her message. She wasn't sure any of them would. She wasn't even sure she was able to comprehend her own message. The enormity of history weighed heavily, and she may have been the only one who felt its pull. She was 68 years old and had campaigned for this most of her adult life. She had devoted all of her adulthood to the service of Christ under the order of the Sisters of St. Joseph. There she was known to many as Sister Ellen. When the ordination was completed, she would henceforth be Mother Ellen. It was agreed that the moniker Mother would be more appropriate for parishioners. She made an effort to subdue the global negative feedback of her newly administered position within the church had placed her amongst the faithful at a local level. Death threats and a general unpleasantness were arriving in regular intervals in the mail, as well as flooding the parish inbox. She instructed the administration staff to welcome the communication, but to delete anything that was not deemed a legitimate call for assistance. Most of the correspondence was discarded. This will pass, all burdens on the soul do, when we are in the presence of God and His desire for us, Mother Ellen remembered. She knew her path was a hard one for many, not just herself. No one ever has an appetite for trailblazers, but their work can become important and reliable once accepted. Almost everything is rejected until one day it isn't. Deep in her heart, she knew her unconventional path would be but a footnote in her story. A remarkable yet ordinary tale of a person who chose to devote herself to the service of others, but in the most extraordinary of ways, never before achieved. It was Mother Ellen's time, not because she was a breaker of glass ceilings. That fact was incidental. It was her time because the church needed her as much as she needed it. The people needed a leader who was ready, willing, and able. The inconvenience of gender was not applicable when there was no one else who would put their hand up for the job. Mother Ellen was called, and she answered the call. As she contemplated her place in history from her seat above the altar, she made a mental note to push the egocentric portions of her understanding of this special day to one side and took comfort in the service she would be giving to others. She stood to face her parishioners. They stood with her. She lifted her arms and said what so many of her contemporaries said every Sunday for the last 2,500 years. My friends, let us pray.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimminns.substack.com.